Hi, I'm Audrey Cascio in Watsonville, California. California farms produce 80% of the nation's strawberries. The crop is fragile and requires careful handling. Over the years, farm workers and farmers have developed effective practices and systems that result in the finest quality berries that are served on tables around the world. The season is almost year-round, starting early in the year in the south and winding its way up the coastal region and into the Central Valley through to late autumn. As products improved and demand grew, more and more acreage was put into production. Many farm workers have progressed to the point that they now own their own farming operations, and the industry employs nearly 20,000 workers during the year.
I've been in the strawberry industry as a grower for 16 years, but prior to that I had picked strawberries as well as I have picked many other fruits around the state. And I tell you, things have really changed for the benefit of the worker. As a grower, we have to provide water, we have to provide the sanitation facilities, and it's a big improvement, a big change nowadays. There's a good percentage, maybe as high as 60% of the strawberry growers in California are Hispanic. And I think most of us have come from the bottom ranks when we started working as people weeding or picking, and we worked our way up to be growers.
In 1975, California enacted the Agriculture Labor Relations Act, which has never been duplicated by any other state in the Union. The law is designed to protect the rights of farm workers to select what, if any, collective bargaining representation they might want. The comprehensive law specifies fair and unfair labor practices and provides a system for resolving disputes between workers, employers, and unions.
You have the agricultural employees having access to the election procedure and the labor unions having access to the employees on the ranch. And when that is guaranteed, as it has been in California, it focuses everybody's attention on the employees. And the question remains with them, what do they want? It's not for the public, it's not for the politicians, it's not for the growers, and it's not for the unions to impose representation on the employees. It's the employee's choice, and that choice has been consistently protected for 22 years now in California.
More than 20 years after the law was enacted, the United Farm Workers Union has determined that all strawberry workers should be forced to belong to their organization. No discussion, no vote, no government regulations, no exceptions. In organized labor, it's called a sweetheart deal. Union and employer make the arrangements and the worker pays the dues. Employers have rejected that unlawful concept.
I
see a lot of oppression from the union. I believe that all of this should be voluntary. If people want it, and it is good, they should let people choose, that they decide. Don't force them or end up at their houses because, for me, I believe that is not right. Decisions should be made by individuals without anybody forcing them.
The UFW has long been known for employing a rule or ruin strategy in attempts to control workers. If they don't get what they want, they'll spend endless amounts of time and money attempting to ruin their target. Boycotts have been the traditional strategy, with tactics based on defamation, smears, and lies about their targets. They frequently use such issues as racism, sexual harassment, child labor, and illegal use of pesticides in their campaigns.
I think that a lot of what we hear about pesticides is ridiculous. I don't know of anyone personally that has ever complained to me about getting sick about strawberries, but it's certainly a great innuendo.
The UFW, I think, is the best at propaganda and also to lie, because that's the only things that I have been here since I know UFW only lies. The first thing that they start saying was that our fruit was the fruit of the devil. We were sick. We have diseases and contaminate our fruit, fruit that where we working. They lie when they say that we don't have we don't get paid for the work that we done in our fields. They say that we don't have good and clean restrooms. They say that we don't have water to clean out, we don't have clean out our hands, that we don't have water to drink. That's not true. We have all those things.
The UFW in 1994 received 2/3 of its total revenues as a result of contributions and direct mail fundraising, similar to that for legitimate charities. During that same year, the net asset value of the $67 million pension fund plunged more than 10% as $7 million of farm worker retirement money was inexplicably lost. Letters have been mailed by the UFW seeking to raise money by alleging horrible conditions were rampant in the berry industry. While the UFW made sweeping claims about worker abuse and unsanitary conditions, they failed to notify authorities of these situations so violators could be prosecuted and workers could get relief. This raises serious questions about their honesty and accuracy.
The march was an action realized for the needs of the workers to defend us against the injustices of one group, one syndicate, that is the union, the UFW of Chavez. We, the workers, were so tired of so many of their pressures, so many of their lies, and so many of their tricks, that fellow workers from different farms began to talk, and we planned the march. Thanks to God, we had a good result until now. Why? Because we felt the need to defend ourselves, to defend what we consider a right of all human beings, to preserve our jobs.
History, in fact, was made when a group named the Ag Workers of America took to the streets in a march protesting against the UFW. Men, women, young, old, Hispanic, Anglo, union members, and non-union members joined together to demonstrate their anger at the UFW and its campaign.
I think it's crazy that people think that by helping the UFW is going to help the Mexican people or the Latino per se. What's going to be happening if all of this propaganda that's going on with the UFW, if it hurts the strawberry grower, it's directly going to be hurting the Hispanic that has tried to work out and bring about the American dream, and also the first thing that's going to be the first people that are going to be hurt are the workers that are also themselves looking for the American dream.
It is true that many people perceive that the United Farm Workers Union is the only farm labor union in existence, but that is not the case. In California alone, there are over a half a dozen other farm labor unions, and in other states, several more exist. The UFW, however, has been the most visible through its expensive publicity campaigns and socio-political activities.
I don't have anything against the union. They can exist if they want to. But we want them to respect us, respect our decision, and to leave us in peace. And we don't want them. They want to force us to sign with them. They don't have respect for us. They visit us in the fields and they use obscenities. I believe that's not the right way to act.
The farming communities where strawberries are grown depend on harmony and cooperation to function productively.
Well, you know, my concern, and I've expressed this to the union, is that we are very careful that we don't harm and damage our economy. And what I'm worried and concerned about is that the same thing they're trying to do is to protect the so-called strawberry worker, that it turns around and hurts the strawberry worker if we end up with having the crops damaged or plowed or whatever. I'm hoping that that doesn't happen. Well, you know, in all due respects to Mr. Chavez, which is now long deceased, you know, he brought a lot of good things to the farm workers. You know, when I was a farm worker, we had no porta potties, we had no water, we had nothing. So there are some creature comforts that have been brought to the industry of the agri. However, I don't really see a problem. We may have one or two bad apples out there, but because you have two bad apples, you don't hurt everybody. Basically, I have been a member of unions. I think they serve a need. What I always remind unions, that the unions are the membership themselves and not the leaders. And so if you want to create a union, the people themselves should have input whether they want a union or not. But I still think, and you know, we discuss this quite often, that's what the labor board is all about. You go to a union and you go to that farm and Ask them if they want to be union members. We shouldn't shove it down anyone's throat.
There was a time when just about everyone had a direct connection to farming. But now, so much of the population lives in urban areas, fewer people can relate to the heritage farming represents.
It's about honesty, integrity, loyalty. It's about workers and farmers working together. There's really kind of a family feeling out here, being able to work with the same people every year. And I definitely, it's not to my advantage to abuse anyone, because I have to have a good working relationship with them. I personally don't believe that the union can offer them anything that they aren't getting here. One woman came and stood up when the union organizer was harassing them during lunch, and she was tired of it because they'd been here every day, and she stood up, she said, "Hey, why don't you leave us alone? We're happy out here, we're contented, and you're wasting your time." He yelled at her and used the worst possible Mexican insults, and threatened her, told her that if she's still here next week, she better watch her backside. They're just out here trying to work. You know, they don't need people harassing them.
I've been a senior pastor of this church for about 10 years. I know these people well. I know how they think, and I know their heart. And I can tell you that their faith is very important to them. They're very sincere about their faith. And they believe that all people matter to God, whatever their economic status or their ethnic background or their race. And because of that, it matters to them how they treat people. They are people who respect people. They want to treat them well. They respect their civil rights, and I'm confident of that.
The UFW has taken their strawberry campaign across the country. In early 1996, they handed out flyers in front of a New England supermarket calling for a boycott, and quickly denied there was a boycott. The Associated Press reported that a boycott of strawberries was underway following the UFW convention, and when challenged, they quickly insisted no boycott exists.
They were awfully confused. Some of their people thought they had a boycott, some didn't. Either way, they're trying to harm us. We worked so hard to produce these berries that they call the fruit of the devil.
Now the UFW is passing out pledge cards asking people to support their campaign for a livable wage, clean drinking water, and sanitary facilities, and an end to sexual harassment.
The fact is that you can cross out the word strawberry and say you want all these things for nurses, supermarket employees, teachers, office workers. Heck, it applies to anyone.
Most supermarkets understand the pledge is but one step in a process that could wreak havoc on their businesses. They don't want to set a precedent with one product from the thousands that stock their shelves, nor do they want to be put in the position of having taken sides in a dispute that could likely result in history repeating boycotts.
You know, last year when that devil's fruit letter came out, I showed it to a lot of my workers, and they were just going, "Cuando? Donde?" I mean, they laughed about it. They thought that it was ridiculous. If these guys really believe their allegations, they should be praising us. We challenge them to support full, fair, and equal enforcement of the laws that are on the books today, but they won't.
The Strawberry Workers and Farmers Alliance has dedicated itself to providing truthful information about the industry. It is most concerned with providing an open market for strawberries so workers and farmers might have a chance to produce a healthful and bountiful crop. The Alliance wants workers and farmers to prosper alike and enjoy harmony in their lives and communities. The Alliance supports those who abide by the law, and it urges full and fair enforcement of labor and workplace laws and regulations.